Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tulika and I make videos on mental health, on alternate therapies, on ways to get better, and I take you all along with me in the process. So today I wanted to really talk about a thing that has been killing me, and I have not been able to really deal with it completely, but I have still gotten a little better at it. And I thought that why not talk about it? Why not discuss this with all of you? And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who must also be going through the same thing. So let's get started. Okay, let me guess. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's this one conversation that you have kept playing in your head again and again. The thing that you said that you regret, the thing they said that you cannot stop analyzing, a situation that you imagined in your head and it's just not going away, an incident that occurred months ago, and you're trying to sleep, you're trying to do something, and suddenly your brain decides, hey, let's relive that uncomfortable moment that happened 3 months ago again. And it's like you're not even invited to your own peace anymore because your mind is constantly pulling you into a loop you did not ask for. So, what is rumination really? Rumination is not reflection. Let's get that straight. I mean, a lot of people think that, okay, you know what, I'm thinking about this again because I'm reflecting on what happened. No, darling, you're not reflecting on what happened. You're just ruminating. You're replaying the same scenario in your head, and you know that there is not going to be a better ending. It happened the way it happened, and now you're just constantly replaying it in your head. It's not even overthinking, it's just rumination, is just replaying of the same memory. Reflection is when you think something through to learn. Rumination is when you think something to punish yourself again and again. It is obsessive, it is circular, it does not lead anywhere. It's mental self harm which is dressed up as self awareness. And you know what the worst part is? You think that if you just replay it one more time, you will finally understand, or you will make peace with it, or you will make some sense out of it. But that moment has already happened, and no amount of replaying will change the ending. So, why do we ruminate? We ruminate because the brain is trying to protect us. It is scanning for danger. It is trying to prevent us from ever feeling that sort of hurt again. So, if it keeps going back and re examines every detail, like it is trying to solve a puzzle, it's trying to actually keep you safe from the next time the same thing happens. You also ruminate because somewhere deep down you are still waiting for a different outcome. Maybe you want closure, maybe you want an apology, maybe you want to feel like it mattered to them as much as it mattered to you. But let me say this with love. You do not get a closure from a better version of the past. You get it from deciding to not bleed from it anymore. So let's talk about the damage rumination does to our brain. Rumination makes you mistrust your own peace. The moment things get quiet, your brain hijacks the silence. It drains your energy. You spend hours solving problems that no longer exist with people who aren't even in the room anymore. It keeps you stuck. You can't build a new story for yourself when your mind is just living the old chapters. And you deserve more than a mind that is hostile to its own joy. You deserve rest. You deserve silence that does not punish you. You deserve to move on. Not because it did not matter, but because you do. I'll tell you about this time when this phase of my life, it was this one whole year, and I would wake up with the same memory. I would go about my day with the same memory. Every time, no matter what I'm doing, it's just replaying in the back of my head, and I'm just like trying to find different outcomes each time. I'm like, you know what, let's think about this, and you know what, this must have happened because this must have happened, and they must have thought about it this way, and this whole situation must have meant this, or and you know, I got so tired of it because it started affecting me physically. I was constantly anxious. I was feeling a pit in my stomach. I would not be able to sleep. I would wake up and I would be scared that, my god, that thought is going to come again in my head, and I would not be able to do anything about it. And then there was this time, I remember it was a few months ago, and I was in the shower, and all of a sudden I started spiraling again, just standing there. And suddenly I was just like replaying the whole situation, the whole thing 100 times. And I knew exactly how this would play out, how their words would land, how the whole thing would affect me, what are the things that I'm going to be affected by. I'm going to remember the certain picture, I'm going to remember some text, I'm going to remember some conversation, and how it made me feel. And I would just like keep digging into this whole thing. And then I realized that, you know what, I am letting that moment steal my present. my present breath, my present water, my actual life. It had turned into a loop I didn't even know I was still playing. And that was the day when I decided to do it differently. So, what actually helps? I'll tell you. Number one, you say it out loud: I'm not doing this today. You have to catch it. Because you know what happens that when you start ruminating, when you start spiraling, when you start thinking about everything that happened, you just go into the whole process, into the whole loop of thoughts, and you can't just get out of it instantly. So you need to remind yourself that, you know what, I am not doing this today. I'm not going to take myself through all of that again, and I'm not going to let all of those things affect me again. So you have to catch it, you have to interrupt it, because your brain would not stop until you tell it to. It sounds simple, but that sentence has saved me more than once. I am not doing this today. Number two, choose a grounding ritual that you repeat every time. For me personally, it's moving. Sometimes it's reassurance. It's different things, you know. But you need to understand. You need to know the three, four things that actually help you break the cycle. Changing rooms, splashing water, lighting a candle, telling your body that this is now, this is real, this is safe. And you need to talk yourself through it. You know what you need, because you can, when your brain is playing all of that, you need to rationalize that, you know what, this is not real, I'm safe now, this happened in the past, it does not affect me right now, it's not changing the course of my life right now, probably won't even happen again. So you need to remind yourself of all of those things while you also do a physical shift, or do something externally, like, you know, splash water or drink something or eat something to break the cycle. Number third is that you ask yourself that, is this thought helping me heal or is it hurting me more? And you will already know the answer. Most of the time, you just sit on the wound and you do not need to be your own salt. So talk yourself through it. Number four is that you give yourself permission to stop mid thought. You don't need to finish every loop. You do not need to replay the scene all the way through again. It's okay to stop mid sentence and come back to yourself. So you remind yourself that, okay, you know what, I'm spiraling and let's not think about it. Let's just watch something, let's do something else. Just like immediately stop that thought midway, and try to get out of it. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself, I don't owe my past pain any of my present peace. I don't have to punish myself to prove that I've grown. It happened. I felt it. I learned. And now I'm choosing to let it go. Not for them, but for myself. And say it again. I am not doing this today. You know what? You're not your thoughts. You're not your mistakes. You're not required to suffer just because you once did. Rumination wants to trap you in a loop. You get to break it. You get to step out. You get to choose peace over and over again until it becomes your new default. Drop a comment if you're done over explaining your pain to yourself. If you're ready to stop letting the past bully your present. Let's talk about it. Let's get better together.